Alright, so now we're going to move on to the third video and the last video of this section, which is going to be applications. So we're just going to apply what we just learned to a word problem. Alright, so before we go ahead and do this problem, there's just one thing I need to discuss with you. If I say that we're going north 75 degrees west, what this is telling us, if I say this in the question, what this is telling us is that we were once traveling north and then that we turned 75 degrees. So if we were to keep continuing traveling here, like here, and then we turned 75 degrees and started going west. So that means that this angle here will be 75 degrees. All right, so if I say that we're going south 30 degrees east, that means as if we were traveling south, all of a sudden we turned and we went 30 degrees east towards the east direction. So that will be 30 degrees there. All right, the next question that we do is just going to have one of these in it. So I just figured I'd talk about it for a second. All right, so this says an air traffic controller is tracking a plane that is 2.1 kilometers due south of the radar tower. So that means here we have a radar tower. And a plane is 2.1 kilometers due south of it, so that means it's directly south of it. So here we have a plane, and it's 2.1 kilometers away. A second plane is located 3.5 kilometers from the tower at a heading of north 75 degrees east. So that means if we were to continue going north on this tower, that we turned 75 degrees to get to this new position or to get to this new plane. So here, the other plane is then going to be 3.5 kilometers away. And it says, to the nearest tenth of a kilometer, how far apart are the two planes? So what's the distance between these two planes? Well, if this angle here is 75 degrees, we can solve for this angle by doing 180 minus 75, which then means this angle is 105 degrees. So we can then redraw this triangle that we have off to the side, in which we have 105 degrees, 3.5, 2.1, and we're trying to solve for this missing side x. So we can then label this A, B, C. So that means this will be little a, this will be little b, and this will be little c. So we can then use the formula of a squared is equal to b squared plus c squared minus 2bc times cosine of angle A. All right, then we'll fill in what we know. Well, we don't know a squared, so it's just going to be x squared is equal to then b squared is 2.1. B squared is 2.1 squared plus c squared, which is then going to be 3.5 squared, minus 2 times b, which is going to be 2.1, times c, which is 3.5, times cosine of that angle A, which we know is 105. All right, so now we're just going to go ahead and we'll do all of this math on our calculator. So x squared is equal to 2.1 squared, which is 4.41, plus 3.5 squared, which is 12.25, minus 2 times 2.1 times 3.5 times cosine of 105, which would then be minus negative 3.805. And then the minus negative will then turn to plus. So then we will add 4.41 plus 12.25 plus 3.805, which is equal to 20.465. All right, then we will go ahead and take the square root of each side. And remember, I want us to be correct algebraically, so x is then equal to plus or minus. The square root of 20.465, remember you should be using the square root of your answer key, is then equal to 4.52. We will reject the negative answer, and it says round to the nearest tenth of a kilometer, so that means x is approximately equal to 4.5 kilometers. So that means the two planes are approximately 4.5 kilometers away. All right, that is it for this video, and that is it for this section, and that's it for this chapter 8 as well.